Well, hello, BookTube! I'm back. I don't know if you noticed me being gone, but I was gone for a long time. But I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, so I thought I'd start off with some tags I've been really needing to get to. Liene from Liene's Library made up a Neil Gaiman book tag, and as you know, Neil Gaiman is my favorite human, but she tagged me for, this book tag, so I'm finally gonna do it. I'm sorry it took me so freaking long. April was a weird month. I was in a terrible reading slump and I just didn't do anything bookish for all of April. So anyway, I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, like I said. So let's get started with the tag. Question 1 is for Anansi Boys. Name a book or series that is about two siblings. For this, I chose Caraval by Stephanie Garber. It's about two sisters and they go to, Caraval, which is the magical kind of circus performance competition game thing. I have a review that talks more in depth about the plot and everything, so if you want to know about it, I'll link that video down below. It's a really good book. I highly recommend it. Number 2 is The Graveyard Book. Name a book or series that is a retelling of another author's work. Not like a fairy tale retelling or something like that, but like an actual something another author wrote, because The Graveyard Book is based on The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling, but The Graveyard Book takes place in a graveyard, so it's more interesting and creepy. I had a bit of a time coming up with one for this, but I came up with one. I read it forever and ever ago. It's called Epic Fail by Claire Lezebnik. I'll try to put a thing up here. It's a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, only set in a Los Angeles prep school. So it's very high school. It's very cutesy. Like the Darcy character is like a big deal because his parents are super famous actors, and then the Bennett girls are only at the school because their mother is the new principal, so they don't quite fit in because they're not as like rich as everybody else, and it's like, it goes along with the book. It's fun picking out all the characters that you recognize from the original Pride and Prejudice, and it was a long time ago that I read it, but I remember really liking it. It's super like cute and fluffy and fun, and it was a fun read, so that's what I'm choosing for this one. Number 3 is Good Omens. Choose a book or series that is based on or incorporates something biblical. The first thing that came to my mind is The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, because everybody, these are very allegorical, and particularly in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Aslan is the Jesus character, and all of that. So I chose these. Everybody knows what these are about. It's a really good fantasy series from my childhood that I remember just loving, and I do plan on rereading the series this year, so maybe I'll actually catch on to some of those biblical meanings that are in here, because I obviously didn't catch that when I was a child. So we're going to try to read them again this year and see what I can get out of it as an adult that I might not have gotten out of it as a kid. Next is American Gods. Name a book or series that blends myth or fairy tales in an American setting. So for this one I went with the Sookie Stackhouse series by Charlaine Harris. These are the books that the show True Blood is based on. You've probably heard of that show. It was a very popular HBO series. I watched some of it, but it's very different from the books. I mean, not super different, but different enough. The first couple seasons kind of follow the books a little closely, but they really take it over the edge on that show. Anyway, I went through a very serious vampire phase in college, so I read the first 10 of these books. I think there are 14. Once I started having to wait for the next one to come out, I kind of lost track of the series, but I really loved these, and they're vampire stories based in Louisiana, and it's fun because, I'm from Louisiana, so I know all the little places that they talk about in the series, and so it feels very American to me. It's a very American vampire story. Number 5 is Coraline. Name a book or series that scared or creeped you out as a child and may still creep you out as an adult. I'm kind of a chicken, so I didn't really read many scary things when I was younger especially, and certainly not any scary children's books. The only thing I could come up with for this is The Giver by Lois Lowry, and The Giver is not scary at all, but it has some creep factors in it. You know, the society's a little creepy with everybody being the same, and then, you know, what they do to the old people when it's their time, and then what they do to the babies sometimes. I mean, I don't want to spoil it in case you're one of the like 4 people on the planet who hasn't read this yet, but it's a really, you know, it's a little creepy. It's creepy still, I think, but it's a very good book. Number 6 is Stardust. Name a book or series that blends historical fiction with fantasy. For this one, I went with The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is so good. It's set in a like paranormal magical version of 1920s New York, and you feel like you're in 1920s New York. It's crazy. She did such a good job with the historical aspects of it. It's very atmospheric. You definitely feel like you're there. It's also, speaking of scary, very scary. It's about this girl named Evie who is kind of psychic. She doesn't really see the future, but she can kind of like, she can divine things about people from touching an object that belongs to them, and so she's kind of gets in trouble doing her little parlor trick at a party in her small hometown. Okay, so her mother sends her away to New York to live with her uncle, who runs a museum of the occult, also known as the Museum of Creepy Crawlies, I think is what they call it. But anyway, so she starts trying to kind of help him get the business going and make the museum a little more successful. And then there are these murders that start up, and they're kind of ritualistic, occult-seeming murders, so they get the uncle to come in as kind of an expert to consult on the cases. So they end up all wrapped up in this big kind of serial killer murder mystery, and then there's a whole other scary factor to that because the serial killer is like, the serial killer was like awoken from the dead, kind of. It's all, like I said, it's very occulty and mystical and scary and witchy and cool. But it's a really good book. I highly recommend it. I really want to reread it so I can read the next one. The second one is Lair of Dreams. It came out a long time ago, but I don't know when the third one's coming out, so I might try to reread and then read that one closer to when the third one comes out, so I don't have to keep rereading, because you know they're not short books. It's a hefty book. But it's really good. I recommend it if you haven't read it yet. It's awesome. Number 7 is Ocean at the End of the Lane. Name a book or series that includes a main character reflecting on their childhood. This one was harder for me to find. So I actually have not finished the book that I'm going to use. I started it a long time ago and I just didn't finish it for whatever reason. I don't think it was because it wasn't good. It was good. Anyway, it's A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it's kind of an older man telling the story of kind of how he became this great wizard. There's a lot more to it, obviously, but I just honestly don't remember much about it. I really do want to read this series at some point. If you've read it, let me know and tell me if I'm wrong on what it's about, but I'm pretty sure that's at least partially correct. So anyway, I couldn't come up with anything else. This is what I came up with for this prompt, so yeah. So, number 8 is the last one, and it is Neverwhere. Name a book or series that involves a magical world that coexists or exists parallel to the real world. I feel like Harry Potter is kind of everyone's go-to for this. You know, the wizarding world exists along the muggle world. But that's what Liene chose, so I wanted to do something a little different. She used this book for another prompt, I think, but I went with The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. You know, it's the Shadowhunter world that exists alongside the real world, and, you know, the normal people are just blind to it because we don't have their abilities or whatever. So, you know, the two worlds exist together. So that's what I chose. This is another one I think everybody knows what it's about, so I don't feel like I need to go into it. I talk more about what it's about in my series I Need to Finish video if you want to watch that. So that was the Neil Gaiman book tag. I had fun doing it. I'm so sorry it took me so long, but I finally did it. And I'll try to get back to doing more videos. I didn't have an April wrap-up because I didn't read anything in April. It was shameful. I'm doing my A Court of Thorns and Roses. I just finished rereading A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I'm going to reread A Court of Mist and Fury, and then A Court of Wings and Ruin is supposed to come in tomorrow, so I hope it comes in tomorrow like it's supposed to, and I'm so excited and so scared. Another reason I haven't been reading and getting things done is because I have a puppy. I introduced my puppy, Oliver, in my last video, which was my March wrap-up, I believe. But you definitely want to see him again, right? He's a whole month older. He's like doubled in size. You want to see the puppy. You don't lie. You totally want to see a puppy. Everyone always wants to see a puppy. You're never going to ask someone, you want to see a puppy, and they're going to say no. That's not a thing. So anyway, I'm going to go get him. He's being scared. But this is Oliver. Look how big he is. He's so big. Look, they want to see your cute face. They want to see your cute face. Yes. So anyway, he's not really cooperating, but he's never been in this room. No puppies allowed, I told him, because he gets into everything and he will try to eat my books and then we can't be friends. So anyway, this is Oliver. We're just gonna say bye. Say bye. Say bye. Okay, bye.